email exchange that I had yesterday, which several of you have seen, um, I felt that it was necessary to make this video. And I'm directing it at the people who are on that email list, not my supporters, but law officials and uh, people of authority. Because there's a lot of people of authority on there who are watching this. Doug Mesner, hey, Kristen, no worries, no worries. It's always the same shit anyway, unfortunately. Um, but the thing about the emails yesterday, I rarely ever read Doug's emails. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. I glance through them, but never read them because it's always ugly bullshit stuff. And I just don't see the point. But the fact that that dude typed in over and over and over where I couldn't ignore it, when in doubt, whip it out. That's what he wrote. That's his mantra. He went on and on. He typed it probably 5 times in an email. And it's not like he hasn't done this. If you look at his weird antics at the late Westboro minister's late mother's gravesite, where he was trying to make her gay in the afterlife, what did he do? Whipped it out. And it dawned on me that this is the dude that schools have deemed accessible to have access to kids because of his satanic temple after school daycare bullshit. So the dude has pictures that national media took of him just whipping out his dick and balls. He's going on, when in doubt, whip it out. So when you're with a bunch of kids and you're in doubt, I guess you're just gonna whip it out, you know? And he has the audacity to call me a pedophile. See, the difference between Doug and me is that I'm not around kids. Not that there would be any problems with it, because I'm not a pedophile. But this dude is trafficking, he's focused on kids in a way that is bizarre. This whole group, the whole Sewer Town group. Now they're trying to associate me with this DeFango idiot, and I didn't even know who he was. I thought he was the woman that was involved with Isaac Cappy's death that ended up dead. I don't even remember who that person is, because they all have these weird-ass, fake-ass names. But it dawned on me this morning that law officials and investigators and reporters are all getting these emails, and you're just, what, all sitting by, entertained, can't be concerned about what the fuck is being said. And it's their own emails. It's their own words from their own accounts. And I guess it doesn't matter. This is how I look at it. We're in judgment here. And there is so much stuff happening, let alone with the sun and all of the plasma that is we're being inundated with the sun and these coronal holes and all of that. And the earthquake, the huge, 6.9 that just happened in New Zealand. And there was a 6 point something in Alaska as well, I guess. Everything is shifting and changing, and things are getting to the crisis point. And I believe we're in judgment. And there are no fence setters in all of this. If you know, if you know about all of this child trafficking and all of these child traffickers, and you don't feel compelled to do anything, the fence setters, the lukewarm, get vomited out with all the rest. So sitting on this shit and just feeling like you don't have to be involved. And I know what it is because when I first started this, when I was in Omaha, I got two words all the time when I went to people: career killer. The only one that didn't say that was Brian Mastery. He worked at KETV. And guess what? He was on the nightly news. He was one of the people who was big, and it killed his career. But nothing has changed. Those who fight to save their lives will lose them. And those who stand up for righteousness will find life everlasting. That's how it works. Nothing has changed. In fact, it's more prevalent now than it was back then. Doug Mesner is saying that Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross isn't going to do anything. He's not lying. Neil Gross does not want to lose his position. And if they found out, if he came and admitted that he lied about that Erling, Iowa gas station explosion, which he did, thank you. When you consider the official report that says that it was that the place filled up, it was one explosion that leveled the place. But then you just simply compare it to the KETV news report that happened that night. Neil knows exactly what the truth was. It was two explosions that were 9.5 minutes apart. If you watch that KETV news program, you'll see Dan, who owns the gas station, say he got out of the gas station, went back in, got his brother-in-law, got them both out to safety before the second explosion. And if you go to KETV, all you have to do is Google Erling, Iowa gas station explosion, KETV. That quote up there that said it was like a war zone, that's my quote. I said that. And I'm also in the KETV news report that happened. I said that because I knew exactly what had happened. It was domestic terrorism. And they weren't trying to kill my sister and I because Kathy was in Omaha. She wasn't anywhere around. I had to actually call her son and tell him, you better call your mom, because we weren't talking at the time. You better call your mom and tell her that the gas station across the street from her house just blew up. But the gas station was across the street and only about a half a block down from my house. You know? Thank you. Funny, I've been working on the house, and so I just put on a sweater vest. Argyle, I kind of like Argyle, and I kind of like orange. Not to deviate, but I getting a lot of comments about my vest. Thank you. All you have to do is compare those two reports. So Neil Gross isn't going to actually come clean about anything because he'll lose his position. He will. He's going to lose his position anyway. But he'll never come clean. Doug is right. But Lucian Greaves founder, and then they sent me this weird ass video today. I didn't watch it, but I sent it out, and I asked someone who's on my email list, did you watch that video? Because I never watch any of their shit. It just serves to irritate me. And I guess it was an upside down cross and a cat playing, and the sound didn't work on it. And that's what I got sent today. But all of this needs to be investigated, and they're all criminals. Thomas Schoenberger is working directly with Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. When they murdered Owen and Daniel Dowd was posting live videos of my town on YouTube, and Geo Farnsworth posted that threat showing that he was in Harland, saying anonymous never threatened you, and then had a laughy face, and that was right when Owen died. The Andy Villa account, which is who Doug Mesner is, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. I know it's Doug, and he's been sending me all kinds of emails lately, all kinds of emails. And yes, Gov, they're lies. Their stories keep changing. They keep changing. They keep changing their stories. And the stories are in direct opposition to each other. Both can't be true. Their stories are constantly changing because they're lies. And they're all criminals. This Defengo, from what I understand, convicted criminal. Geo, convicted criminal. Daniel Dowd, convicted criminal. Thomas Schoenberger, convicted criminal. This is where it's all connected, and it's all of this child trafficking bullshit. It is directly like the global satanic Nazi pedo ring that the FBI busted in New York City a year ago last September. That's exactly what they're involved with. That's what Isaac was trying to expose, his Famalam thing, where he was trying to make it a safe place for kids. They turned around and started trafficking kids through it. That's what ended up happening. And it's not so hard to understand when Daniel Dowd is out there making videos about how he's meeting minors online under the guise of he's trying to counsel them not to meet people like him. Well, I don't think that convicted pedophiles, and he was busted in Houston, Texas, for having inappropriate sex with someone under the age of 12, should be meeting minors online for anything. I guess that's just me, you know? And the fact that law enforcement will sit by, and Neil has known about all of this. My sheriff has known about all of this. Do you realize that I live in Shelby County, even after that gas station explosion, because I didn't realize that Neil was working for the bad side until well after that gas station explosion. When I sold my house in Erling, I wanted to stay in Shelby County because I thought Neil was helping me. That's why I bought a house in Harlan and didn't move back to Omaha. So if I seem angry over Neil Gross, I am, because I was duped. It was a lie. He's been working with them all along, because it was Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who was all involved in that protection order that was taken out on me in Washington. If you look at the 15 videos that were listed on there, they have nothing to do with the petitioners, but only and solely dealt with Doug Mesner. Doug Mesner will say that nobody cares about me. Nobody cares what I'm saying. But I know one person who does, the very person who has obsessively stalked me for years. That would be Doug. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. Obviously, Thomas Schoenberger cares about what I'm saying. He's gone on out of his way to try and fuck up my YouTube channel over and over and over, you know? And so they obviously care. They obviously care. And I just oh, the thing about it, Gov, is that they'll just do whatever they want to do. They will. But when I got involved with all of this years and years and years ago, I'm being tested right along with everybody else. Would I martyr myself for all of this? Would I let them do whatever the fuck they wanted that they were going to do to me and still keep going forward? Would I still do the right thing and fight for righteousness' sake, despite all of the attacks and all of the bullshit? And I can say consistently that answer has always been yes. I'm still here, despite everything I've lost, despite everything I will lose, because they're just on top of me. You know, Thomas, when he couldn't get me, he threatened me to take down. First, he said he was going to take the title to my house. That's how it started. This all happened within days. Then he told me that my channel was going to be toast. And then he started threatening me about, well, if you don't take these videos down, any video that has anything to do with me, I'm going to report you to Social Security for fraud. And I didn't do anything because there's no fraud being committed. Obviously, what through his emails, he said he did. And then he put his name on it, which helps me out a great deal because I'm pretty sure that Social Security is going to look at my account and realize that this myriad amount of attempts at identity theft trying to fuck up my account, now you have Thomas putting his name on stuff. Because Thomas is working with Sewertown. They're all working together. DeFango is involved, working with Sewertown. Daniel Dowd, Lucian Greaves. And what is all of this all about? Child trafficking. More than that, gun trafficking, drug trafficking. It's a criminal enterprise that needs to be investigated. And it's not my job to investigate it. In fact, the reason why I don't do any investigations is because I realize, see, I don't even know, the picture of DeFango isn't a woman. Is it Kara? Skills? That's what Geo said. Is it Skills? Who's Kara? Free Range Humans. The woman who came to my house when I was having the Zachary come do my documentary and secretly recorded us in our house for 4 days. But what did she get? Nothing. They just broke into my house and stole a laptop. Well, they break into my house anytime they want. But they broke in, stole a laptop. What did they accomplish? Nothing. You know? They constantly do all of this shit. And it ends up amounting to nothing. And they brag about it over emails. And those emails are going out. And the people who are getting those emails, who proceed to do nothing, who just don't, oh, it's not really worth their time and effort, you ain't going to like the consequences. Because they're hurting kids. And because you choose to do nothing, you're complicit with it. They're allowed to hurt kids because you choose to do nothing, which gives you a large part of responsibility in it. And that is not going to work well for you in the end. And we are at the end. We are at the end. The fact that the earth has that huge coronal hole, which is just gotten bigger and bigger. 7 times the Earth sun has revolved, and each time it comes back bigger and bigger and bigger. During the time where we're in solar maximum, and those coronal holes that get big like that usually only happen at solar minimum. So what is causing it? It is biblical in nature. You know, Gov says, I recommend that if the audience cares, we take this video and send it to state and federal authorities. That's what I would love it. Also, like and share, you know, like and share. They can compare the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion and who was sending me all of the death threats for 3 years before that gas station exploded. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, and skills as Emily Thorne. Again, Kara from Free Range Humans. This dude just sent out an email that authorities have where he went on and on, when in doubt, whip it out. So I just put a picture. The picture that was all over national news of him doing just that. I sent it out and said, yeah, we know, Doug, this is your, mantra. And you obviously live by it. You want to know what? There ain't no pictures of me whipping out my dick and balls out in public for the whole media to actually take pictures of. There's no pictures of like that anywhere, ever. And I would say that most decent people, there aren't. But this group, this band of criminals, just do whatever they want with impunity. And the reason why I don't investigate, which is what I was saying, was because anything I bring to the table, they're going to discredit. So I try not to bring hardly anything. All I'm presenting is their own shit. I'm not out there investigating. I'm not out there trying to find phone logs and videos and all of it, because anything I bring to the table gets discredited. And so I'm not going to do that because I don't want things discredited. And I know how this works. Again, I'm only acting as a spotlight. I'm shining the light into the stuff. I've never understood why people would take pictures of their penis. I don't find penises to be, I don't find them that pretty. I just don't. And I don't understand men who send penises to women. I don't understand the whole concept of dick pics. But this group does. They get kids to do all kinds of weird shit, film it, and send it to them. If you look at what they busted, that satanic Nazi pedophile group that was global, that FBI busted in New York City just a year ago, September, that's what they were doing. They were going on platforms that kids go on. And I don't know any of those platforms because I don't go on any of those platforms. YouTube, Messenger, those are the two social media things. X, which used to be Twitter, but then I don't even really spend much time on there. Usually I'm just posting stuff. These videos, I post the videos that I make, I send out. I have a list on Messenger that I send it out to. I have a list on X that I send it out to. But the rest of it is just, I'm old. And I remember a time when social media didn't exist and people actually had lives. And it is impossible for me to spend so much time on social media and still accomplish the things that I need to accomplish on a daily basis. So I'm never on social media. So these platforms that like Daniel Dowd is meeting kids on. I've never heard of most of them. If you read the article, because you can type the Guardian and satanic Nazi pedophile group and just type in the keywords, the Guardian actually wrote an article about it. You can actually find the FBI report that it was based off of, you know? And so all of that stuff is easy to, you can easily find it. But that's what they were doing. They're getting kids to do bizarre stuff, you know? The irony is that the name of the PRO officer overseeing Shelby is named Shelby. Name, Gov, connected to all of this. I'm just interested to know if it's the same one. But you aren't going to get anybody in Shelby County to help. It's you're not going to get anybody and say you're not going to get anybody in Shelby County to help because there's a meth operation going on, and there are people making a lot of money off of that meth operation, and it's involved the sheriff's department and basically the Gross family, because who is the prosecutor? Shelby County prosecutor, Neil Gross's uncle. You know, they're all connected. It's all connected. The fact that there was a domestic terrorist attack in Erling, Iowa, which is easily proven, because the official report doesn't match what Neil Gross actually said the day that it happened. You know, it doesn't match up, and the discrepancies. There's so many discrepancies to this. Isaac Cappy was trying to expose child trafficking. The fact that he said that he wasn't suicidal, did a video. Prosecutor is Gross's uncle. And keep your children off the video games. The pedophiles are already in your children's bedrooms. You know? Daniel Dowd is a perfect example of that. You know? Convicted fucking pedophile, and he's out there making videos how he's in kids to counsel them on how they shouldn't meet people like him. You know? I've never heard of anything so bizarre. Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, after school daycare. And this dude just sent out an email yesterday. When in doubt, whip it out. And he fucking said it over and over and over and over. He's proud of that. You know? And that's who they deem is acceptable to be around children. We live in an upside world, you know? It's just disgusting how it's working. But those who sit on the sidelines and know about it and do nothing because they just can't be involved, you ain't gonna like the consequences, because you're going to be claimed in the dark along with all the rest. This group just never stops. It just never stops. They have a long history of going after anybody who tries to expose them. Thomas Schoenberger has a long history of attacking people online. And they all have fake ass accounts and fake ass names and fake ass aliases, and they have Doug Masico is his real name. Doug Mesner is his fake name. Lucian Graves is his fake name. Andy Villa is his fake name. John Kilrush is his fake name. Villians is his fake name. I could just keep going on and on and on and on. And that's just, they're all like that. They're all like that. They all hide in the shadows, all this creepy ass shit, and then go after anybody who would call them out. They will go and obsess about me on their 4 to 7 hour podcasts and just call me names. But I'm 58 years old. I haven't been in elementary school for a long time. The whole calling me names shit doesn't really work. And I'm really not on social media, you know? And the fact that maybe they get people in town who actually think mean things about me. What am I going to do? Cry myself to sleep? You know, I just don't see where they're going, what they think they're going to achieve. The video that they sent out this morning, I don't understand what they're thinking they're going to achieve with that. You know? And I don't even watch the stupid shit. I just send it out. And then people actually get back to me and it's just like, wow, you know? Again, today it was an inverted cross. I sent it to you, Gov, but it came back because it was too big for your email. What ends up happening here is that Neil will arrest his opposition. They'll arrest their opposition. But if you're buying drugs from them, you're fine. You're usually working for them. That's how it works out here. But put the whole drug thing aside with the Noah Schilling dude that works for Neil, that goes down to the, because a lot of it is based, from what I understand, in the trailer park. And so all of that, put all that aside, put all the drug stuff aside. The gas station explosion in Erling, Iowa, I was getting death threats. Deputy Donovan, who was working for Neil, who they were forcing to come after me and try and take my dogs away, who failed in court, ended up, oh, and then the lawyer that was helping me, while he was helping me, his brother went to the mailbox and didn't come back, just dropped over dead. And I have a feeling it's connected. It was connected. Because after everything, the lawyer was afraid of me, you know? And I obviously didn't have anything to do with it. But I knew about it because the lawyer was connected to someone who was a friend of mine and they were family. And so I heard all about it. But Deputy Donovan, who Neil was using to come after me with my dogs, ended up committing suicide a week and a half before that gas station explosion. And you have to understand, I was getting death threats all the way up to that gas station explosion. When I left Algona, Washington, and got into Erling, it was the day after I moved into Erling, Doug Mesner started telling me that they were already set up in Erling before I even got there. He was waiting for me when I got to Erling. It was nonstop. It never stopped. You know, at least no one has come in and kicked the shit out of one of my dogs. Because in Erling, they hurt my baby girl. You know, kicked the shit out of her. It took me 2.5 months to get her to be able to come downstairs. If I fed her, I had to have the food ready immediately. If I was letting them out, I had the door open immediately. Because if I put her down and turned around to do stuff, she was so terrified of what happened down there that she'd run upstairs and hide. It took me 2.5 months. It was traumatizing for her and I. Here, they break into my house, over and over and over, and they brag about it. They stole a Dell laptop. Neil knows that. I've sent all of the emails to investigators and police. They've had everything, and they do nothing. They do nothing. When Doug and the Sewertown idiots and Thomas Schoenberger and that whole group was sending me pictures of kids in the email, and I called 911, the 911 in town, the woman got me to go to another thing. What is it with the 33, Orange? What is it with the 33? Because now I'm interested in that. You know, that's something that they say all the time. So obviously, you're fucking connected to them. And you're saying all this shit that I don't even understand. I know it's some kind of weird ass threat, but now you've just associated yourself with them. Because like I said, Doug Mesner just sent me a thing yesterday saying he bet me $33 that I wouldn't speak about taking donations yesterday. That's why I went out of my way to speak about donations. You know? Fucking dickhead. I'll talk about whatever I want. But now, you've just outed yourself. You know? You just outed yourself. And you want to out yourself. That's the whole thing. They're in here all the time. They dote on everything I do and say. But then all the while sending me emails how nobody cares. You know? Well, you sure are, you do, your group seems to be very obsessed with everything I do and say for nobody caring. Your group obviously cares, you know? And they're always anonymous. Always anonymous. Usually in their drug-filled meth head, because they're all drug addicts. The shit that they do, and a lot of times it doesn't seem like they even sleep, because I've gotten emails from them that have gone on all night long. And I don't even want to wait, you know? I fall asleep and then I wake up the next morning and have emails that they have posted all night, you know? It's all this Nazi bullshit. That's what it is. 33 has to deal with something with the Nazi bullshit, you know? And they think that there's something special. No, Oranges has been here before, you know? But is trying very hard. Wanted recognition. Now you have recognition. Because now everybody's talking about you, you know? They can't control the sun. They can't control what the fuck. They can't even control. They are so fucking stupid. This whole thing with the war plans being sent to it, they're just the dumbest fucks. They are the dumbest fucks. And the thing that makes them all similar, it's like Doug Mesner. He always feels like he's the smartest person in the room. Well, you know, when your ego is that big, it actually works against you. Because what happens if you're not the smartest person in the room? Or what happens when someone is just as smart as you are and they're in the room? You know? Hey, Sharon. Hoax Wars is suspect, but so are you. Hoax Wars is connected to Thomas Schoenberger, directly connected to Thomas Schoenberger, but then so are you. You're trying to act like, now you're going to act like controlled opposition, you know? Oh, you're against them and stuff like that, and you'll bring stupid shit up, but you're working with them because it's all controlled opposition. And people watch these videos and they realize what's happening. And when you have investigators and law officials watching this stuff and just sitting on their hands. These people are trafficking children. That's what's happening. That Erling, Iowa gas station explosion was a domestic terrorist attack. It was by the grace of God, nobody died in that thing. And the first explosion was a bomb. That's the only explanation. It wasn't the gas that was there. That's what leveled the place 9.5 minutes later. You know? Orange has 31.1K subscribers. Joined September 26, 2014. Well, that's interesting. Mr. Hoffman, maybe? You know? Because usually they're just brand new accounts. But I have old school people coming in. They're very focused on me. You guys are just such good little investigators, you know? Well, the thing about it is that gas station explosion is that gas station explosion, there were people, it happened on a Monday. But Saturday night before, there were men across the street parked at my sister's house who woke up my neighbors who were there at 3 o'clock in the morning. And they were laughing. And they woke up my neighbors. So there were people across the street. Now, we were in COVID lockdown and had been for a couple months. So nothing was open at all. Hadn't been open for months. You know, we were in COVID lockdown. So what were they doing across the street? They were planting a fucking bomb, is what they were doing. Neil knows all that. I told him that day because I was told by my neighbors who woke up from it. And those neighbors ended up moving immediately before they even sold their house because they were afraid because of everything that was going on. But Neil knew that there were people across the street that Saturday, and then the gas station exploded on Monday. You know? They just fucked everything up. You know? But you want to know what? I bet that the letter that I sent, there's an organization, I'm having a brain fart right now, but it's all of the insurance. Someone told me to go to insurance commission for Iowa. So I sent him a letter and said, you were lied to. The Erling, Iowa gas station explosion that all these insurance companies paid out on, they weren't liable. They weren't liable. It wasn't an accident. And insurance companies don't like to pay for things that they're not liable for. And so that's how it all started, you know? The tanks exploded 9.5 minutes later. The gas tanks exploded 9.5 minutes later. The first explosion was a bomb. The first explosion, and what they said at the beginning, what they tried to say was that it was an air compressor that did it. The air compressor exploded. But an air compressor explosion doesn't have fire and smoke. Basically, they put a bomb in the wall that faced my house. That was where the first explosion happened. But obviously, God was watching out. What they wanted is that wall that the first explosion happened with, they wanted that wall to come down. But it didn't come down. It fucked everything up. And there is a video of the second explosion, and that's when the gas tanks blew up. Because it burned for 9.5 minutes before the gas station, before the gas tanks blew up. And when the gas tanks blew up, it leveled the place. Had the wall come down where the first explosion was, and it happened in a room that there was no gas, it was one room, you know? And the room where the gas station exploded happened, it had these two huge doors where they could get fucking tractors into the gas station. So what, they're working in there and no one smelled gas? But had that wall come down, the 300 plus pieces of debris that ended 9.5 blocks away in a field on the other side of town would have hit my house directly. But as it is, when the gas tanks exploded 9.5 minutes later, all of the explosion went out the path of least resistance, which were those two huge doors, which were that actually faced the other side of town. So instead of hitting my house, which would have taken me out. And I don't find it a coincidence that the first explosion happened. I didn't even hear the first explosion because I had just gotten in the shower and put my head under the water. I had no idea about anything that was going on because I was taking a shower and washing my hair. It's the first thing I do when I get in the shower is wash my hair. And so I didn't even hear the first explosion. I guess the first explosion was bigger than the second explosion, but I didn't hear it. And but then when I got out of the shower, because my window from my bathroom faced the gas station, I definitely heard the second one and saw it explode because I was drying off, you know? And so it was, you know, the second explosion happened. They thought it would happen bang, bang. And it didn't happen bang, bang. You know? It didn't happen bang, bang. It happened 9.5 minutes apart. Orange, you're a dumbass. The stupid shit that you're saying is just pathetic. It's pathetic. That's all I'm saying. You know? Why don't you just put a big flashing red neon sign saying I'm one of them over your fucking head? Because that's basically what you've done. Just a dumbass, you know? And again, I don't understand what they think they're accomplishing when they do their stupid shit. When they send me these videos that I never watch. But the video with the upside down cross that all went to investigators today, you know, all went to investigators. But again, with that gas station explosion, that's why I keep coming back to the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion. It's the easiest thing to prove. And once you see the truth in that, it's easy to go look at all the other stuff and realize that there might be more to what I'm saying, you know? And it's all about child trafficking. That's what they're trying to do. And the very dude who's running the Satanic Temple after school daycare has a mantra of when in doubt, whip it out. Isn't that the kind of idiot you want to have around your kids? If that's true, fuck, maybe he'll come babysit. Fuck, invite Daniel Dowd to come babysit your kids. I bet he'd fucking love that. Thomas Schoenberger, convicted fucking felon, you know? But they all think that they have everything down. They think they have everything locked down, and they don't seem to have anything locked down. Their egos are so out of control that they're delusional. I just don't get how they think they're doing anything, and obviously they're not shutting me up. Here I am. You know, and I wasn't even going to do a video until Tuesday. But I just decided, and I'm still doing a video tomorrow too. I'm sure there'll be more shit to talk about. You know, in the end, at judgment, God deludes the evildoers. That's what ends up happening. That's the reason why you can do war plans and actually get a reporter involved with it, and then the next day go on in front of cameras and say, "Oh, nothing was classified. He's lying." So what ends up happening? The Atlantic just publishes the whole thing to let everyone make their own, because since nothing's classified, well, fuck, if that shit wasn't classified, I'm not sure what's supposed to be. But nowadays, you can fucking take classified information thing and put it in your fucking bathroom and on stage and in every other place that you can fuck that anybody can have access to. Fuck, who cares? You know? Fuck, why don't they just publicly publish the nuclear codes? You know? Their beliefs create their thoughts, and they believe their thoughts. Exactly, Gov. You know? And it's with regular people too. It's not just with them. It's happening all over. It's anybody who speaks out against Trump has Trump derangement syndrome. The fact that you actually think that Trump is Jesus Christ reincarnated is more deranged than anything I've ever, you know. I don't remember Jesus Christ being an adulterer and a liar and a fornicator. And, you know, I know you do, Gov. But then I think that the left is just as, I think they're all worthless. I think they're all worthless. You know, Republicans, Democrats, I don't care what little letter they put after their name. You know, what is it with you fucking now? Orange, you do realize that that video that they sent me was an upside down cross with a cat playing. What the fuck is it with you and cats? Now I know you're a fucking Satanist. You know? Again, why don't you just put a sign over your head saying, I'm one of them? You know? I want to fuck your kids. Why don't you just do that? You know? I'm not 100% anti-government, but people who run for president are all the same. They're all involved in their own ego. You know? Trump's ego is no less than what Obama's was. You know? Fuck, the dude is in love with himself, but that's what we were told. Lovers of themselves. They love the evil that they do. And that's just, you know, they are all puppets on strings. But government is important, but it should be for the people, by the people. But for the people, by the people, mean the people need to get involved, other than casting a little vote once in a while. You know, it's government that regulates electricity, picks up our garbage, shit like that. You know, that's, of course, they create more garbage than what they pick up. So I'm going to get off here. But to let me reiterate, the investigators that are on here, it's not going to actually be, it's not going to be in your best interest to turn away from all of this. You've seen what's going on. The very dude who has access to your kids with the Satanic Temple after school daycare just went on and on that his mantra is, when in doubt, whip it out. And there are pictures from national media of him doing just that. If that's who you think is okay to be around kids, then you deserve the dark. You deserve the dark. You're already in the dark because your head is so far up your ass, there's no light anyway. So you're used to the dark. You know, isn't that how it pretty much works? We have to have faith in God, Chris. That's exactly it, Kristen. That's all we can do. You know, live the word, fill your hearts with love, compassion for a fellow man. You know, stop being okay with evil just because you think it's just going to happen to your neighbors. You know, if it's going to happen to your neighbors, it's eventually going to come to your front door. That's how it works. The Nazis just didn't stop with one, you know? That's they never do. And wishing or being complacent with evil happening to your neighbors, that's the whole thing of what you judge will be returned to you. That's how it works. If you're okay with evil happening to other people, then shut your mouth when the evil comes to your front door. Because maybe someone's wishing that shit on you. And if it's okay for others, then it's okay for us. And I'm not saying you, Kristen. Don't think I'm targeting you. I'm talking just in general. This world is not of our Father. It is not. But in the end, a lot of us end up getting martyred. Just realize that the followers of Christ, we get martyred. You know, thanks, Gov. Do hit the like button. I'm all with Gov. Send this video out to federal officials, to whoever you can think of that might actually want to look into this, because our children deserve better. But with that said, I'm going to pray. I was breathing, and now I'm in here and doing this and talking all that time, and now my sinuses are just... I'm better today with this cold, but let me tell you, this cold kicked my ass, Okay. I just wanted to clear out my sinuses before I pray. Oh. Okay. Heaven, we come to you as your children. I ask that people listen to the words. You inspired me to do this live today. It was you compelled me to actually do it. I wasn't going to do it. And I just ask that people out there actually listen to what I have to say and get people to investigate it. Send the information out to whoever you would be amenable to actually has the authority to do an investigation and look into all of this. Because this group, this band of criminals are just crazy. And they dance around like baboons in heat, like Orange just did today, over and over and over. They dance around like they act where they're completely with impunity. And it's just frustrating. And it can't be just frustrating for me. We ask that you fill us with grace, surround us with your grace, and keep us on the path and guide us. And give us strength when you ask us to do things that are outside our comfort level. We serve you. We serve the word. Gladly, gratefully, and willingly. With as much love as we can muster on a daily basis. You sent your Son, our brother Jesus Christ, down so he could live a life that we were to emulate. We realize that those who stand in the shadows and don't get involved, the fence sitters, will be vomited out with the rest. And we just ask that you show us how we are to fight for righteousness. Then we say these things honestly and with full heart and with great love for our brother, your son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. Well, I'm just too tired to actually get into a conversation about government. It doesn't make any difference anyway because the world is fucking about ready to end. You know, government isn't even going to work. It barely works now. It's not going to work. And like I said, it barely works now. And the shit is getting intense. Stefan Burns. I can't push that enough. Go watch his stuff and see what's happening. You know, you're not going to see a lot of it on the news. We are a reality television society. If it isn't going to be outrageous and crazy and fun, then they're not going to do shit about it, you know? And so it's almost, we're at the point where it's over. The sun and all of this plasma is having an effect on all the volcanoes. It's only going to take one super volcano to go off before. And there's what, 4? Kilauea is already exploding. You know, the one in Italy is already exploding. They're saying that Yellowstone is about ready to explode. By the way, for the audience, if you want to laugh, there's a very funny series called Love Gov that looks at what a person who act like if they acted like the U.S. government. It's incredibly funny. If we acted like the U.S. government, we'd be homeless, you know, and out of a job and starving. But I'm being harassed now. Yes, I know. I'm definitely being harassed. So I'm going to get off here because now I have all of them in here. I have all of them. They want my attentions. I think they want to go outside. Oh. Yes. Yes, I love you guys. So, with that said, I will be on here tomorrow. I'm going to, Tuesday, Thursday, and usually Saturday is going to be my normal times. And then every once in a while, I might throw a different one in. I'll add another one like I did today. However, I agree with Gov. Like and share this video, please, and share it with officials. Take 10 minutes and actually figure out someone to send it to and then send it to them. Actually get involved other than just sitting back, you know? Take a stand. And you don't have to agree with everything that I'm saying. I'm not asking for any of that. I'm just saying that what I'm saying needs to be investigated. And the fact that it's not because I have a group of criminals calling me nasty names and saying dumbass shit about me, you know, most of us haven't been in fucking elementary school for how many years? The fact that they think that's going to work is just pathetic. It's pathetic. That's all I'm saying. This stuff needs to be investigated. And they're in your kids' bedrooms, on their gaming systems right now. So if you're okay with that, then fuck, have Daniel Dowd. Maybe he should become a babysitter. You know, Lucian Greaves, the when in doubt, whip it out. You know, they'll teach your kids a thing or two. You probably won't like what they teach them, but hey, you know, if it's okay, you know, I personally do not think it's okay. But then I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about it, I guess. But it needs, this needs to be looked at. It needs to be investigated. And the shit is so obvious and so out there. If anything, Orange today is perfect example of that. You know, was a perfect example. I still don't know what 33 is, but it's significant to them because they do it all the time, you know. You can think that I'm lying. You can. But at least look into it, you know? That's all I'm asking. You don't have to take everything I'm saying as gospel. I would prefer you not, because if you're taking, then you're going to just take anybody at gospel. Don't take the stuff that I'm saying at gospel. Just give yourself enough credit to actually go look and see the validity of what could possibly do. I know 33 is significant. I just don't understand the significance. Doug Mesner just used it yesterday, and I'm sure it's a fucking Nazi thing, you know? But go look at the whole what happened. What they busted, the FBI busted in New York City, that satanic after school Nazi, or not that global satanic Nazi pedo ring. Go see what they did. The Guardian actually did an article about it. You know, oh, my milk was poisoned. Thank you, Gov. They did. They not only poisoned, they poisoned half and half that I was getting ready to bake a cake of and take to people around town. I would have been duped into poisoning people in town. And the only reason why I know that it was poisoned is because the half and half, I ended up using some of it in my coffee that morning before I used it. And it tasted, it was, it was fine. The date was fine, but it had this weird, it looked like a gasoline spill in my coffee. And it ended up making my mouth numb and it made me sick. And the minute I put it in my mouth, it had to have been heaven, made me look into my glass. So I only put a swig in my mouth and spit it out, and it made me sick. I do not use half and half in my coffee. I don't much care for half and half. You know, that's what was so weird about it, is that I ended up using half and half. And because usually, if I don't have, I use the cheapest creamer you can get, the powdered creamer. And if I don't have any of that, I might put like a half a teaspoon of sugar in it. But I don't use half and half because I don't like half and half. It tastes like it's like a weird thick. It's the consistency that I don't like. And it has a weird taste to it. I've never really cared for half and half. And so it was bizarre that I did it. Again, it was heaven. Got me to drink that. And I still have the container if investigators ever wanted to actually look into it. You know, still have the container. But it's beside the point. You know, I don't go in because it didn't, you know, if I can't get them to look at the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion, I'm not going to get them to look at a fucking container of half and half. You know, just not going to do it. You know, they have broken in, turned my fucking water heater full blast. I figured because that's what my bills were going outrageously high. Outrageously high. You know, and so And they would have hurt me with that one, because the only reason why I figured it out was I ran a bath. And usually run a bath, and I'm so used to how that works that I usually just jump in the bath. This time I put my arm in it, and it fucking burned my arm, you know? But they're just doing whatever they want. They just, while they're in here doing that with my hot water heater, they stole a 2005 Dell laptop computer and then bragged to me about it in emails. I didn't even know the fucking thing was gone, you know? Not that I worried about it, because there was nothing on there other than screenshots of all of their shit when I was in Washington, you know? But it's not the only place I had all that information either. It's not like I lost anything. But they just break in whatever they want, you know? They just do whatever the fuck they want to me. And of course they do, because fucking my sheriff helps them, you know? If I call them, and like when they were sending me pictures of the kids, the woman from 911 got me on the non-emergency line and then told me to go to an FBI satellite office in Council Bluffs that doesn't exist. And she reiterated, "You're telling me to go to the FBI office in Council Bluffs." That's exactly what I'm telling you. Go to the and it doesn't exist. What they were telling me was they ain't gonna fucking help me. Of course they ain't gonna fucking help me, because the 911 operation is run by fucking Neil. You know, they ain't gonna do shit. The only reason why I haven't contacted JD Delay is because he has his hands full. He does a lot of stuff. I don't think he's gonna help. You know, but if some of you think he does, and I know he hates pedos, I know he hates pedophiles. So maybe someone actually needs to contact him and tell him what's going on with the Satanic Temple after school daycare. And that's connected to Sewer Town. That's connected to Isaac Cappy and the shit that Isaac Cappy was trying to expose. That's connected to Thomas Schoenberger and Gabe Hoffman. You know? The open secret dude and Craig Sawyer, who was taking all kinds of money along with Russ Dizdar to actually expose that homeless shelter in Arizona, at the border of Arizona, that had trees that had child-sized shackles nailed to them. You know, maybe someone wants to contact him, but I'm tired of people just turning all of this stuff away. Give all the names. Corey Daniel and Daniel Dowd need to be looked at for what happened with Isaac Cappy, because their story has changed in 4 years. Corey Daniel was driving under an overpass and can tell you the very minute he was there, didn't know Isaac Cappy from what he said for 4+ years, didn't see any police presence there, but he can tell you exactly when he drove under that overpass. But now, 4 years later, he and Daniel Dowd were on the bridge and need to be heralded as heroes. That was just said by Geo Farnsworth. Geo Farnsworth and Daniel Dowd were in my town in Harlan when Owen died. They took out Owen and laughed about it. And now that I'm calling them out, Thomas Schoenberger was involved and he was working in league with Lucian Greaves, whose real name is Doug Masico, aka Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, who runs the Satanic Temple after school daycare bullshit. Lucian Greaves has a long ass history of going to Neil Brick's SMART conference in Connecticut and also going into Ivory Garden Trauma and Dissociation Conference in Seattle and actually ingratiating themselves with survivors so they can later on intimidate them and harass them to shut them up. Lucian Greaves was involved with Amber Volatin who was also involved with Lori King. Lori King was a founder of Ivory Garden, who Amber Volantin drove 3 states to get, unbeknownst. Lori King didn't know she was going to be there. Lori King's husband didn't know they were going to be there. Amber Volantin brought Lori King back to her house, and Lori King is a transsexual, so keep that in mind. But ended up dead the Sunday that the second annual Ivory Garden Conference rounded up. So she went and got Lori King, brought her to her house, and then Lori King committed suicide at her house the same Sunday. And it was all meant to fucking scare everybody at Ivory Garden, which it did. It scared everybody there. Hey, Sherilyn, I hope everything's okay. I've been worried. Just saying. But, Lori King, and then Lori King's husband obviously had a problem with it because he was dead less than a year later, you know? But that's all involved. And Doug Mesner will say, well, show us the gas receipts and blah, 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 and the phone and blah, 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 blah. You need to be an investigator. You need to be Nancy Drew. You need to prove all of this. No, it needs to be looked at. My Owen, they were threatening me. Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth showed up in town. Daniel Dowd, as Pootie Twang, posted all these live videos of my town at the same time that Owen ended up dead. Andy Villa, who is Lucian Greaves, was sending me pictures of the front of my house that was freshly painted, all at the time when Owen was dead, because it was meant to shut me up. Andy Villa is Lucian Greaves. He was the one yesterday who was, when in doubt, whip it out. Oh, well, I must be in doubt, so here, let me, And that's who you want around your fucking kids? Are you fucking kidding me? It is beyond. It is beyond. And I am not the only one who's been involved with all of this. They murdered Isaac Cappy. They murdered Lori King. They murdered Lori King's husband. They murdered Owen. And they can say whatever the fuck they want, but they parade it around just like Orange did today. Just like Orange did. They act with impunity. So investigators who actually want to look into the shit will find it because they're fucking stupid. They don't know how to hide anything. Not only do they not hide anything, they brag about it. So it's pretty easy to figure it out. They bragged about murdering Owen. And then when I called them out, I'm glad, Sherilyn. And then when I called them out, then they act like victims. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, will send me death threats, threatening my dogs, telling me that I'm going to disappear, that they're going to Isaac Cappy me. Yesterday, I actually told him, dude, you're going to be dead of AIDS here soon anyway because you're sick. Do you know that idiot fucking started bitching about how I was making a death threat? To actually say that your AIDS is going to eventually kill you is not a death threat. It's a fact. It's a fact. I wasn't making death threats to you, but that idiot can make all the death threats to me that he wants and threaten my dogs and laugh about breaking into my house and fucking going after me and how Neil isn't going to help me because Neil's with them and blah, 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 blah. But the minute he perceives something, it's the same fucking thing with Thomas Schoenberger. Can fucking do all kinds of stuff, but the dude needs to peel himself off his cross because someone needs the fucking wood. I'm sure of it. No, I don't want anyone from MS-13. The whole thing about it is the, hey, Lavinia. I journeyed, by the way. Was told that things will happen, but that we're all being called home. That's, it was kind of a depressing thing, you know? Shit's getting ready to happen to all of us. The sheep are getting ready to be separated from the goats. And let me assure you, there's a lot more fucking goats than there are sheep. But the rain is going to fall on the just and the unjust. The same. Well, I hate to do this because everyone is in here now, but I've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes. Oh, the Social Security Administration. Yeah. Social Security actually told me that nothing can be done over the phone, which I am fine with anyway. It's on my thing that I have to go in and show my ID for anything to happen. But SSA told me that there was a myriad amount of attempts of an identity theft, and that was Tara Joyce and Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth. And how the fuck do I know about that? Because they were bragging about it. They were openly bragging about it and how they wanted to get my Social Security disability taken away. And now, after that, Thomas Schoenberger, I guess, just reported me for fraud. Oh my God, you're all in here. You know, maybe what I should do is just end this one and start a different one. You know? That way this one isn't so long, because this one's a pretty important one. But now Thomas Schoenberger just reported me for fraud. But it started with on a Sunday, he told me that he actually was stealing the title to my house so he could put me in my place. Then he told me that my YouTube channel was going to be toast. Then I got email after email after email when he couldn't make that happen, that if I didn't take videos down talking about him, he was going to report me for fraud because I shoveled someone's sidewalk for $30. And it was because she wouldn't let me do it for free anyway. And so he was going to, if I didn't take the videos down, and he was sending me videos, well, if you don't take those videos down in 24 hours, I'm going to report you for fraud. Then he was just like, in 45 minutes, I'm going to report you for fraud if you don't take those videos down. And then basically was just like, oh, well, I reported you for fraud now, you know? And so, dude, I don't even know what that fucking joke is about, but it's not funny, you know? But I'm going to leave it up here. Not funny. Dude, you're a freak. It's awful. But that's what they are. They're just fucking hateful little incels. They're just fucking hateful little incels. They think that their shit is just, you know? It's sad. It's sad. So, I tell you what, I'm going to get off here. Give me just a couple minutes because I'm going to go downstairs. I got to feed the dogs. Quick, I'll let them outside and then I'll move this shit to my 3-season porch, you know? And I'll start a new one. And that one will just be a fun one for all of us. And Justin Violet, you won't be on my fucking next one because I'll block your stupid ass. You know? Keep your weird ass comments to your fucking self. Nobody in here thinks child abuse is funny. That's the whole reason why we're in here. Because we don't find it fucking funny. With that said, I'll see you guys in just a few minutes.